Adding customers. Before Carol can enter in any outstanding customer invoices, the customer details will need to be set up. Creating a new customer is also required for creating new invoices, but this can be done as the invoice is entered and will be dealt with later in Module 4, the Transactions module. In this section, we will look at how to add a customer in manually into QuickBooks, as well as how to import a range of customers in one hit. Adding customers in manually under Invoices, Customers. This is where our customer center lies, as you can see. We can import customers and we can add in customers manually. Let's choose Adding Customers Manually. In this particular case, we will be adding in Monique Bond. So we fill in her details and we'll do that quickly for you. So you can see we've added in Mrs. Monique Bond. We've added in her details, her email, mobile number. So just add in as many details if you have for that particular client. If they're a sub-customer, this is quite handy. So if they are, let's just say they could be a franchise, so it could be a sub-customer of a parent franchisee. So you can select that as well. Then I've added in the address. I've said the shipping address is the same as the billing address. If it's not, you unselect it and add in the shipping address. Any notes and attachments that you need to know about this client, I've just added in that Monique is James Bond's mother and is our VIP client. So we need to look after Monique as well, because James is a very highly important client of ours. You can add in payment methods if she has her ABN number and if she had an opening balance, which she doesn't at this stage. You can add her attachment as well, by the way. So if you've got a contract with the client, terms and conditions with the client, you can add in any attachments that you like. Maximum file size is 20 megabytes, and you can have as many as you like, as long as it doesn't go over the 20 megabytes. And click Save. So there is our first client. And as you can see now, under Customers, we have our client that we've just added in, and we open that up and you can see we have the one client. Let's just take a look at this really quickly. You see you have a transaction list. So any transactions that we do with Monique would sit under the transactions. So that's our history. If she's part of any projects, and then more customer details as well. You can edit that client. You can make her inactive, and if there are two contacts with the same name, you can actually merge those contacts together. You can process a new transaction from here. As you can see, any type of transaction. We'll look at transactions in the Transactions module. Let's take a look at importing in customers. Now, we can import in customers in a couple of different ways, like we did with the chart of accounts. So if I go to the gear icon, under Import Data, we have the customer import, as we did with the chart of accounts. But I will show you another way, and let's go back to our invoicing, customers. Let's go across to the tab where we've got new customer, and we can import customers in from this particular button as well. It takes us to exactly the same window that we would see if we were to use the other method. So it doesn't really matter where you use it from, but make sure that you import it in correctly. So I already have my template set up, so I'll just bring it in to the area field here where it tells us that we have to upload an Excel file. And here we have the import customer file that I had saved previously. Again, if you want a template, just download the sample file for your template. And all we have to do is click Next. The next window will come up with the mapping option. So all you need to do is just ensure that you've got the mapping of the name in the QuickBooks Online field to the name in your Excel spreadsheet. So just go down the list, make sure that everything is correct where you want to see it. Click Next. This will come up with the mapping that we have just completed with the information that we had in the Excel file for the customer file. You can see that it's bringing in the name, company, email, and so forth. If there is an issue in any one of these fields, it will be highlighted in red and you will need to address it as it will not import in. If you find that you have a double up of names of the same company, you can just deselect it and it won't actually be imported in. But for this particular case, let's import them in. We'll choose import. And you can see for some reason Olivia didn't come in because it's already in QuickBooks. So it's actually letting you know and it's stopping that duplication happening because we've already got Olivia in QuickBooks Online. So we don't want that coming in. So we'll just choose exit out of there. Do we want to leave without saving? Yes, we do. And done. Before we go any further, there was a third option of importing in your customers. And if you recall at the very start of the module, when we went into the customer center, we actually had a window and it was called Keep Track of Who Needs to Pay You. And there was an Import Customers button there. So you could very well do that at the start. But you can see I've added in some other customers with the magic of training. Now, there's a couple of things that I want to go through with you. With the import in that we just completed, we had Kate Hart and her company is called Hart & Co. As you can see from the customer list, we view this as Kate Hart and not Hart & Co. So you may want to go in and change the actual card so that Hart & Co. are visible. So let's choose Kate Hart and it'll go into the card. Let's choose Edit. And from the customer display name, this is where we will choose Hart & Co. As we go down the list, you can see there's quite a few fields that have been completed from the import. If there's anything that you need to add in, you can add in notes. There's attachments as well. Payments, terms, let's just say Kate's terms are due on receipt. We can add that in. You can add in the ABN number. She won't have an opening balance at this stage, but if the client did, you can add in the opening balance and you could have added that in the customer import. Let's click Save. Now that we're in the card, this little window has opened up and you can see if I want to filter by name, I can quickly look for a particular client by just adding in the criteria into this field. So this way it stops me from having to go back out and into the customer center, as you can see. Now, going back into the customer center, you can see that we now have Hart & Co. and not her first name. So please be aware of that. The other thing I want to bring to your attention is the option to add in another currency card. So with this particular case, we have Smith's Company that we deal with Great British Pounds. Let's take a look at the card and see how we set that up. We'll click on Edit. You can see we just had the very basic details, and this is the tip here, everyone, is that after the name of the business, I always add in the currency code so you know straight away what currency you are dealing with. I mean, the AUD one, I just leave blank. And as I scroll down, it actually lets you know this customer pays you in Great British Pounds. You can see I can use the icon. So if I wanted to go right down to the bottom of the terms, change that to due on receipt. Or if I wanted to go up, down, this is a really good shortcut option that you have. Let's choose Save. Takes us back to the customer card for Smith's Company. Let's go back to the customer center. Now, to set up a new customer in overseas currency, you just choose New Customer, and this is where you would actually choose the currency. And the rest, of course, is exactly the same by adding in the details. Now, please do note that once you set up this customer card, you cannot change their currency, okay? The other tip here is if you have a customer that is invoiced in two different currencies, you will need to create a separate customer card for each currency. Carol has now succeeded in adding Zippy Electrical and Data Services customers into QuickBooks Online and will now move on to adding their suppliers in.